When my wife and I bought our old farmhouse, we knew the attic was going to be an issue. It wasn't just dusty. It was sealed off, the entry hatch screwed shut with rusty hardware and painted over multiple times. The real estate agent nervously called it storage capacity issues, but the previous owners refused to discuss it. We finally got a handyman to pry the heavy wooden hatch open on a humid Tuesday morning. The first thing that hit us wasn't the heat, but a thick, sweet smell, like dried flowers and old molasses. The handyman shone his flashlight up. It was enormous, a single, dark, unfinished space stretching over the entire house. Nothing was up there except the rafters, the insulation, and one single heavy object in the very center, sitting right above where our master bedroom was located. It was a massive, old cast-iron bathtub. It was dry, rusted, and inexplicable. Why would anyone haul a bathtub up into an unfinished attic and leave it there? The handyman tried to move it. It wouldn't budge. It was like it was glued to the floorboards. We eventually gave up, replaced the temporary hatch with a new, solid access door, and went on with our renovation, deciding the bathtub was just going to be part of the house's weird history. But the mystery stayed with me. Every time I lay in bed, I could feel the immense weight of that iron tub hanging directly over our heads. The first strange occurrence happened about 2 months later. I woke up sharply just after midnight, convinced I'd heard a muffled clang from above. My wife slept through it. I lay there in the dark, listening, but the house was silent. I figured the wood must have shifted or a rat had knocked something. I dismissed it. But the next night, around the same time, the sound came again, a deliberate, unmistakable scrape, like metal being dragged just a few inches across the rough floorboards, followed by a heavy, dull thud. It was so clear this time that my wife bolted upright. "What was that?" she whispered. "The attic?" I whispered back, already halfway to the bedroom door. I grabbed the flashlight and went into the hallway. The new access door was closed. I pulled up the step ladder, unlocked the latch, and slowly pushed the door open, letting it creak down. I shone the light up into the black void. The flashlight beam cut through the darkness, illuminating the center of the room. The iron bathtub was there, right where it had been left. But it wasn't centered perfectly over our bed anymore. It was angled slightly, about 3 feet closer to the west wall. The dark streak of rust on the floorboards confirmed it had been moved. I checked the windows, the rafters, the door. There was absolutely no way anyone could have gotten up there. The space was empty, save for the tub. I manually pushed the heavy thing back to its original centered position, closed the hatch, and went back to bed, feeling utterly chilled. For the next week, I heard the scraping every night. Sometimes a heavy sliding sound, sometimes just a tiny creak of the floorboards protesting the change in weight distribution. Every morning, I would climb the ladder, unlock the hatch, and find the heavy iron tub moved slightly, usually angled towards the west, or sometimes just nudged a few inches north. It was always a minimal, impossible shift. The final, paralyzing twist happened on a Saturday afternoon. I had just finished mowing the lawn and was exhausted. I decided to confront the tub one last time. I opened the hatch, climbed up, and shone the light on the center of the floor. The tub was exactly where I had left it the previous morning, centered, quiet, and still. I sighed in relief, thinking maybe whatever force was moving it had finally left. I started to climb back down, satisfied. I had one foot on the ladder, the other still on the attic floor, when I stopped, paralyzed by a single, final thought. I didn't hear the clang or scrape last night. I turned my flashlight back to the tub. It was perfectly still, but as I stared at the dark, rusted iron, a horrifying, profound realization hit me. I hadn't heard the sound last night because it hadn't moved across the floor. The sound I had always heard, the thud that followed the scrape, was the sound of the immense iron object falling back down and settling into place after being lifted. And if the tub was now perfectly centered, but I hadn't heard it fall back down last night, it could only mean one thing. It was still lifted. And as the thought finished in my mind, the immense rusted weight of the tub, which had been hanging invisibly in the air the entire time I was standing right beneath it, suddenly violently dropped, hitting the wooden floorboards with a devastating final boom that shook the entire house. I scrambled down the ladder, slammed the hatch shut, and ran outside, never looking back. We sold the house months later, and I still do not know what was lifting that impossible weight every night, but I know it wasn't in the tub. It was simply waiting for the exact moment I stopped looking up to let it fall.